Instagram teen accounts have automatic protections for what teens see and who can contact them, plus time management tools. And Instagram will continue adding built-in safety features to help create age-appropriate experiences. Learn more about teen accounts and Instagram's ongoing work to protect teens online at instagram.com/teenaccounts.
I didn't think the pain from the shingles rash would affect simple, everyday tasks like bathing, getting dressed, or even walking around. I was wrong. Though not everyone at risk will develop it, 99% of people over the age of 50 already have the virus that causes shingles, and it could reactivate at any time. I developed it, and the blistering rash lasted for weeks. Don't learn the hard way, like I did. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello, welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today we are revisiting our chat with Kathleen Gati. This conversation is from April of 2022. It was done, I believe, just a week or two after Amanda and I attended the General Hospital Fan Fantasy event in Pittsburgh. She was just so generous and delightful, and one of the best. We say it all the time. Every single person that we talk to is amazing in their own way. Just learning so many different things about her and from her in just about every area of life you possibly can. It's going to be a great revisit. So we hope that you enjoy revisiting our chat with Kathleen.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today we talk with Kathleen Gati.
I could just talk to her all day, every day.
I felt like I was just hanging out with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, okay, so tell me more.
Right. I know I say it every time, but they just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. And I mean, this kind of just came about because, we met her at the GH Fantasy event, which you have to go. If you have the opportunity to go, I don't know why we put off for so long going to these, but I'm glad that was our first one and it was a great time. And we were able to chat a week later.
Yes. But I can't wait till they can open it up fully again, like how it was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Even if it's the same people, we have to go again. Because the interaction is completely different. Exactly.
I mean, we need.
Yes. I have a rain check for a hug, please.
They should have handed out hug coupons and been like, "Come back, and I will give you a hug."
There you go.
Lisa Cicero held my hand, so we're good.
Right. I didn't get that interaction.
No, but I need a hug.
So
she and I need to hug. But wonderful, wonderful conversation with Kathleen. We hope that you enjoy it.
Hi, Amanda. Hi, Shannon.
Hello.
I am so sorry. Something came up. My husband's like, "We got to do this for another hour." I'm like, "I have a thing, and I didn't even ask you guys if it was live." So I'm like, "Oh,
that's okay."
I gotta check them. I said, "This is live. We get it." I'm sorry, So anyway, I apologize. I'm here. Start video here. Let me put myself in. I'm sorry. There. Okay.
Yeah, you're just like us.
This is my Sunday finest. Yep. So sorry. Anyway, I'm usually very reliable and a punchable person, but today it got crazy. We have to do some family things, so I apologize.
Okay, no problem.
So where do you live in Pittsburgh?
Mm-hmm.
And are you friends?
Yep.
From a long time? What's your General Hospital friend, relationship?
You want to share our story? Sure.
I need to know basis. I need to know.
So both our daughters were in Girl Scouts together, and just one random.
Both are like teenagers. What is this?
Thank you.
You both have daughters. How old are your daughters?
So I have 3 of them. They're 9, 16, and 19.
Whoa. Okay. I thought you were like 19. Okay.
And my daughter is 18.
8? Oh,
18.
Wow,
18.
Oh, 18.
Yep.
Okay, that's fantastic. I have no kids. My husband's my kid. So people say, "Do you have a kid?" My husband. You have a pet? That's my husband.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I'm sorry. So I interrupted. So you guys met at.
Okay. So yeah, the girls were in Girl Scouts together, and then just one random day, as Shannon was leaving, she was like, "Yeah, I have to go home and watch General Hospital," and I was like, "What? You watch General Hospital?" And then, after that, it would just kind of be catch up at the meeting. So, what'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? And there was a couple of times that the other moms were like, "Wait, who killed what?"
And before you know it, everyone's watches General Hospital, right?
Exactly. So then we joked around about doing a podcast for a while, and then finally 3 years ago we were like, just do it. So
yeah,
here we are.
No, but it's a great thing because there's so many people that, you just need to keep promoting yourselves. You can build up because there's just so many of these things and people want to hear, talk, a lot of people just talk about General Hospital. Then sometimes we have time. We'll, be happy to talk to you guys too. So it's a good thing you guys are doing. It's cool.
Yeah. And we talk to other fans too. So sometimes we'll do like a fan spotlight, and we love basically what you just asked. We're like, okay, tell us your story. Tell it, because everyone has, like, Amanda grew up with her whole family watched it. I grew up where my mom kind of did, but like my Grammy did. So when I got older and she and I would bond over it, everyone has their origin story, and it's really neat to hear. So
it is. No, it's totally cool. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things when like fans come up, they're like, "Oh, I've been watching it with my mom and my grandmother and my great-grand," it's like, it's 3-4 generations. It's really cool. Because we all had that, it's like I grew up watching certain things, like I Dream of Jeannie, I Love Lucy, Carol Burnett. I'm older than you guys, but so those things were me. And the family sit around, and my mom would watch, my dad, and then, my sister and I. So those things, it means something. They have like emotional value.
And I don't feel like there's that many anymore because there's so many options. Like I remember as a kid, coming home, and it was, what night was Home Improvement on? Wednesday night, I think. And so like it was Wednesday night, we watched Home Improvement, and that's what we did together. So,
right.
Yeah. I know.
Now with all the streaming. I always have notes. I always have notes.
Probably blabber, right? But, go ahead and ask me things. I'm always happy to share. It was nice to meet you guys. It was our first time back. In 2 years, and it was so great. I mean, it was a little awkward for everyone was like, fans, we have to wear the mask, and then we don't, and we don't get to hug you guys. But the fact that we can get back out there and get on the plane, fly around the States, meet people, it's meet you guys again. It was really fantastic, and I was like, okay, we're almost fully back. It's just a little more time with the mask and stuff, but we're almost fully back. It was so exciting because I love the Zoom things. My good kitchen shows, I get to have people in there, and it's really great. But I really love meeting people, in person, and then we hug, and then we talk, and it's just there's a different element to that. But listen,
it's a nice addition, but it's not a good replacement.
Right. It's not a good replacement. It really isn't. But in many ways, the thing with Zoom that's been really good is that we're reaching people that couldn't afford it, couldn't travel, don't have ability, or they're older, or they don't have the health, they're not able to travel, or they have too many, kids at home and they can't leave. So it's also offered another venue for people who would never be able to travel. And, traveling, it's not cheap. You travel unless you live there, of course. And we do try to travel. We try to travel for you guys. So we hit as many people as we can in that area. But a lot of people, when I was in, Detroit and in Pittsburgh, they had traveled in from, all over the place.
We've talked about going to ones like 3 or 4 hours away, but both with having kids, we're like, oh, I don't know, dance and whatever. And, they've all just have lives.
Exactly. So we try to, exactly but again, the Zooms have helped to reach out to people who they can take 2 hours, but they can't take the whole day or something, or the weekend. So yeah, it's been fun. It was fun. It was a really fun weekend for sure. I'm looking for the next one. In June, the end of June, 25th, 26th, we're going to, I think, Fort Worth, Florida, not Fort Worth,
Texas, right?
I'm sorry. No. We're going to Texas first. Florida's, I'm sorry, November. Yes, Fort Worth, Texas, and Tempe, Arizona, which is near Phoenix. It's part of Phoenix. So we'll be there too. So that's cool. June 25th, 26th. And then November, my husband's birthday, we're going to Florida. So he's coming with me.
Oh, that'll be nice. So how do they decide
how do you decide when you're going to do those weekends? Like, are they the weeks that you're not filming?
You know what? General Hospital, fantasyeventsinc.com and Coastal Entertainment, they put on these events, and Uncle Vinny's, they do these events together. They have to plan. I mean, this was planned 2 years ago. So before COVID hit, they make the dates. Usually they have to plan ahead so people that want to travel can make arrangements. But we don't know all the time if the show is dark or not. So it's a stab in the dark. I mean, a bunch of the actors worked Friday night, got on a red eye, got there Saturday morning, did the event. We were in Detroit. After the show, we flew to Pittsburgh, in the morning, we got up, we did our event. And afterwards, they flew back, and Monday morning, they were back at work. Oh. So, but you don't know, it's like I wasn't working, so that was fine. I just went home. But
they don't start at 9. They start way earlier in the morning.
6:30.
Yeah.
So you get home at midnight, you go, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We got home about midnight. And, brush your teeth, get 4 winks, and wake up.
Go into the office. Yeah.
Have a coffee and go to the work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're pretty intense for us, but we really love them, and we love meeting fans in person. So we're happy to go.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we love having you. So.
Yeah.
So we did see on your website, though, that you won an award for Best Actress for the Pittsburgh Independent Film Festival.
I've actually, there was a film called Lifeline. And it was a short film, like 17 minutes, but it was really great film. The writer and the director, Jeffrey Wang, it's a comedy horror. I'll give you the link if you want to put on there, because it was very cool. A lot of people have seen it. It was a comedy horror about this Russian fortune teller and what she does to keep her life going long. What she tells people's fortunes. She looks for like long lifelines, and I won't tell you the rest. It was just, and he's a writer for Criminal Minds, and he's on, I think, Scandal. He's on another show right now. Anyway, he's just fantastic. He wrote it, he directed it, and I won. It traveled all over, and I won 5 Best Actress awards, 5 different festivals, and that was one of them in Pittsburgh. So I wasn't there. I didn't get to go, unfortunately. I wish I had. But the film traveled well with the director. So,
yeah, we saw that. We're like, oh, wait, because we know about it. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Lifeline. Actually, yeah. Remind me. I'll send you the link.
I wrote it down. Yep.
Okay, good. Homework.
I don't know where you want to go next. Wherever you want to go.
Anything you like. I'm pretty much an open book. I usually say too much, and I go, I shouldn't have said that. Because my mother always said to me when I was a kid, Kati. She said Kati. That was my name in Hungarian. Kathleen Gati. That was a cute Kati. You say too much. Too big. I'm like, I know. I can't help it. It just jumps out. So no spoilers, but I'll.
So what made you start the cooking show?
Actually, I was asked to do it by the people who do these events, traveling around, because we weren't able to travel around, and the fans were really, chomping at the bit to see us. And they came up with this idea to do Zoom events with different actors. And I studied and worked in New York for 10 years, back in, I'm going to date myself, 79 to about 90. And then I went to, I went to Hungary, to Budapest. My family's from Hungary. I went there to do a film, long story. And I also I was working full-time as an actress, and I opened a restaurant and a wholesale cookie, cakes, dessert factory. And I was making like 3,000 cookies a day. I mean, not personally, I hired people. They were all my recipes. I made up stuff. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't, so I bagged those recipes. But anyway, and then I had a restaurant, and made up the whole menu, and couldn't find a chef the first 10 days. Another very long story. I'm not sure you want me to go into that, how long this is. But anyway, so I had...
It can be however long you want it to be.
Okay. So I have this restaurant, and I love to cook. Again, I hired a chef, but I couldn't find one for the first 10 days. So it was 55-seat restaurant, and every night it was 2 seating. So 110 people I had to cook for by myself, because I didn't have a chef for the first 10 days. And it was... I'm telling you, anybody who's a chef in a restaurant, I watched all these like Gordon Ramsay and Top Shelf and Top Floor. This new ones with Gordon Ramsay's got a couple of great shows out. And anyway, and all Top Chef and all these like great different shows. I mean, off with a hat. It is a incredibly difficult profession. You're working nonstop. You're exhausted. You can't stop. You got to keep going. And then there's more food, and everything has to look the same every single time because people are going to go, oh, it's a different chef. It doesn't taste the same. So it's got to look the same. The quality has to be good. That was pretty intense. But anyway, I love to cook. I learned to cook for my mom. I opened a restaurant. The restaurant was successful in Budapest. I'm very proud of that. But after a year and a half, I closed the restaurant. It was just a lease, and I opened a full-time bakery, a wholesale factory. So it's in my genes. My father was a symphony conductor. I've said this so many times, so whoever's listening, I'm sorry, you have to hear it again. But his father, and my mother was an opera singer, so I grew up in the arts. But my father's father and grandfather and my cousins and uncles, they were all in the bakery, fresh bread, desserts, all that stuff. So I grew up with that. So it's in my blood, if you could say. And Linda Ronos is from Fantasy Events and Coastal Entertainment. She said, do you ever think maybe you want to try like a Zoom cooking show? And I went, okay. So we sort of threw around this idea like, well, I guess we could try it. And we've been doing it for about a year and a half. I'm going to be doing my 8th one, June 2nd. And you come into my kitchen. We talk. It's not that I'm a genius chef or anything. It's just basically time to spend with the fans, an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some people pay a little extra and they can spend, I think another half hour. And we do questions. We talk like this. In the meantime, I'll say, I'm going to make this thing. And last time I made some, a Hungarian dish that I love. It's like these meat crepes, and I show people how to do it. And, but we're also talking. There's this relationship with you guys, and we communicate. And people ask me questions about the show and about Scotty, and it's just there's fun stuff. Britta, all these kind of things that they ask me about, and it's really fun. So yes, I'm sharing a recipe that I like because I'm working on a cookbook. It's called My Life in Recipes, but I also have stories. That recipe was when I was in Hungary and I won the Best Actress Award for actually Best Supporting in 1993 for this film I did. And we went out, the celebratory meal were these crepes, meat crepes. And it was like, so they leave kind of an indelible impression for me. And it's like, this is a story for me. Every time I call it emotional eating. You're eating this because it reminds you of your mom. It reminds me of, something sweet with your kids. How they love the Girl Scout cookies. So yeah, we sell those and we love these, so there's an emotional connection to food. It's not just like, I'm eating a hamburger and that's great. There's something, it's a story behind it. And that's for me. It's like, these are stories. So every time I make something, my first show, we just tried it out, was this lemon loaf that I had come up with. I had eaten it as a child. My neighbors, I grew up in Canada. Mm-hmm. My neighbors across the street were from Scotland, and they had a freezer always full of desserts. And so a little Kathleen Gati would go across the street, knock on the door. I'm like, 10 years old. Hi. And they're like, oh, here comes a kid. She wants some dessert. And, so they would I said, what do you have? And they had those like Neapolitans and date bars and the Nimo bars, these Canadian things. They had this lemon loaf, and it was amazing. They never gave me the recipe, but I can tell what's in food. I'm gift, whatever it is, or the scary thing, but or a curse. But it's like I'll taste. I go, oh, that's got this and that, and lemon zest and lemon juice, and so I learn these things as I go along, and or just taste them and figure it out somehow. Or it's like a science project. I keep working on it till it works out. And I came up with this, and that was like that was my top seller in the bakery. So I thought, what better way to start my first Zoom cooking show than to share my number one selling item that was in the bakery. So I'm proud of that. I'm pretty, I don't want to say I'm proud of things or I'm proud of my acting. It's like I'm not, that's not who I am and how comfortable I am saying those things. But I was proud of the bakery. I was proud of the restaurant. It was a big deal. It was a lot of work. And now I'm so grateful that experience is parlaying into these Zoom shows, talking with General Hospital combined, talking to the fans who actually, and people say, well, I don't cook, so I don't want to do shows. It's like, that's okay. But it's not so much about the food as the relationship with the fans. We just talk about the show. I answer any questions like you guys are asking me. I'm an open book. What do you want to know about my husband, about our lives? I mean, I'm basically happy to share anything. How we met, Match.com. So it's like we just had our 15-year anniversary on April 6th. Was when we met, our first date, on April 7th, 15 years ago, and then April 7th was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So we're like,
that's very similar to my husband and I met on Plenty of Fish before it I've heard that it's gone in a different direction than when we met. But we met, our first date was May 13th and we got married on May 21st, 2 years later.
That's fantastic. Actually, yes, because I know some other people who got married on Plenty of Fish. But basically, people say, well, how could you meet online? It's like, well, I don't know. I'm older and I'm home and I'm studying or going to auditions or working. Or, so it's like, and I don't go, the usual excuse, I don't go to clubs. And even if you do, you go trolling, like, hey, baby, right. and like, it's not my world. I don't really drink. So it's not my scene. I don't really go to clubs. So it was a great thing. But you still have to, people are like, well, how could you do that online? Well, it's like when you go out, you still have to meet a bunch of people and sift through the weirdos and the married people and the people, it's like in the not normal and not nice. And, there's an alcoholic. He's had a seventh drink. I don't think I'll keep talking to him. So it's the same thing. You kind of, but here you can window shop. It's like, it's like Amazon. It's Amazon for relationships.
I think I went on maybe a handful of dates before, because I was a single mom for 7 years. Oh. And it was...
That's tough.
A friend of mine was like, all right, just, when the kids are gone with their dad, go on a couple of dates.
That's right.
And I always had, the person that I called, or they would call me to let me know, they're like checking in with me and everything. And he and I met on a Wednesday night, and the rest is history. And it was funny because my friend who introduced me to Plenty of Fish about a month in, started calling him my husband. And I was like, I'm not marrying him. We'll be married for 11 years next month. So.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Likewise, yeah.
So very similar. Yeah. No, it was really cool. And our first date, we went out and right away we clicked. I'm like, uh-oh. So I called my girlfriend because she was, she had seen me and heard my phone. Every time I had a date, it was like, oh, this disaster. Oh, that disaster. We would laugh. It'd be, I couldn't wait to tell her like the crazy experience I had that evening. And this time, after years and years and years of dating, I called her up and she said, so how was it? And I went, uh-oh. She said, uh-oh. She said, oh, I went, yeah. She said, you like this one. First time in, I don't know how many. So I was like, I'm going to write a book about all the dates, but I lost the oomph. I'm focusing on the cookbook. So. Yep. But there's some good stories. They might get in the book, actually. They just might get in the book.
I take it that the bakery closed then, because you said that you were.
Well, that was in Budapest, Hungary. And what happened was I was there in the end of 91, early 92. I went back to Canada. My mother was ill, and I went back for about a year, 9 months, and then went back to New York. She passed away. And it was I was going to move to LA. That was kind of a hard time. Anyway, instead of going to LA, I went to Hungary for a couple of months with my ex. Long story. It's not important. That part's not important. But went to Hungary and we did this film, and I stayed for. It was just supposed to be 2 months, but because I won an award there, I got a lot of like best supporting actress. It's like the Golden Globe, Television and Film Critics Award, and it opened a lot of wonderful doors. And I got one television series lead and another television series lead and lead in a feature film and another feature film and a movie of the week. I'm just this wonderful work. So I ended up staying, bought a home there, which we still have. Luckily, my husband's an architect. We've renovated it since. But so I just stayed for a while. And then in 95, that was in 92, communism ended, like around the wall came down, the Berlin Wall, and, and then it's sort of like, 89, 90, 91, it was shifting. And the government sponsored medical, your medical is all paid for, education is all paid for, the arts are pretty much paid for, everything. So you go to the movie theater, you pay $1, it's like, so everything is subsidized. The government pays for all the production, television, feature films, everything. Well, now that communism ended, now became democratic. So all of a sudden, people who are used to getting all this, I get the money and I'll just make a movie. Now they had to figure out a way how to make movies and how to make television series without the money from the government. Well, now, it's like we're used to it because you get advertisers, you get producers, you get executive producers, you get your money, you get a television station behind you. They had to reshift. So basically, from about 95, 96, for about 10 years, the industry kind of died.
Oh, wow.
So, and I started the bakery and the restaurant in 95. And around 96, it was a year and a half that they were in one. And because it was just Elise and another long story with my ex and whatever, that part. But so closed the restaurant, opened the bakery, but by 1998, I was going, I have a really great cookie business. I was going to open 10. It was kind of like the Starbucks, if you will. The cakes, I had like pound cakes, sliced up and cookies packaged and carrot cakes and chocolate. I mean, everything, muffins, all kinds of stuff. And selling to the airlines. Malev at the time was still there. That was the Hungarian Airlines, and selling to them. And it was a successful business, but I'm an actress. I was born wanting to act. I came out of my mother's womb. I'm an actress. I'm a dancer. I want to sing. So it was really hard to not do that. And, because I was doing some theater but it wasn't the same career that I had earlier. And the industry wasn't the same, so I couldn't continue that. And it was such a great time there. And I thought, and I was supposed to move to Hollywood back before my mom got sick, back in 90. And I was heading to Los Angeles from New York. And I thought, you know what, let me give myself one more shot at Hollywood. If it were, I'm 40 years old. This is 24 years ago. If it works, I'll give myself 3 years. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to Hungary. And my cookie business, I call it cookie business, but I sold all kinds of things, was wholesale. So I wanted to do retail. I wanted to there was no Starbucks back then. Now they have everything. Starbucks, Pete's Coffee, Coffee Bean, whatever, all over Hungary. But back then, again, they didn't have this. So it was a really great time to start, do a series of cafes and stuff. So I thought, how cute would that be to have like 10 cafes? Each one would be like a famous actor. It would be theirs. It's like a franchise, like Robert De Niro would own this one, or it would be his. So he would show up every now and then, and he could, people would meet him. He would see him before most actors in Hungary they work in the theater every day. When they're not, in the summers, they shoot films, and during the year, they're doing repertoire in the theater. So they would stop by before the show or after, and people could just see their favorite actors. And their pictures would be all over. I was going to have like sunflowers everywhere and red tables, and little kids would have like, those telephone cable, they wind around these like wooden round.
Oh yeah, the beads.
Yes. What are they called?
The beads that like they just travel like all through the wire. Is that what you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about those. They're round cylinder wooden things, and they wrap like telephone cables around it. Anyway, I was going to have those like little tables for kids, paint them red. Yeah. The children would sit on the floor, little chairs. They would have their own table, like they would be grown ups with some, crayons and drawing and Play-Doh, whatever. And the adults would have their cup of coffee and talk with their friends. So I had this idea. I found the first in Hungary. The condo is on the Broadway of Budapest. It's like. Every theater it's a walking road, and all these, like, there's 10, 20 theaters there. And I found a little space that was like, I don't know, a couple of square feet, and would have been my first place. And I was so excited. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Open these 10 little cafes. And it was called Nushi Nashi. Like, Nushi was this character I played in a film that I was best known for. It was a really sweet comedy called We Never Die. And the character was Nushi, which is like Anushka, Annie. So Anushka, Nushi is a nickname for Annie, basically, in Hungarian. So I came up with the name Nushi Nash, like a snack. Nashi, it's the same in Hungarian, Nushi Nash. So it was an Annie snack. That was the name of the company, and I was going to have 10 of these Nushi Nashis. So I had the first one, and I found this location, and I was also thinking, as soon as I have these 10 open, it'll give me a couple of years, I'm going to Hollywood. And I was already 40 then. So I'm going, okay, Hollywood at 40, even when you're 20 is already too late, but 40 is really bad. I was like, I don't care. Nothing stops me. So I'm like, okay. So I found the first location. I was on the Broadway of Hungary, Budapest, right there, close to where I lived, the condo. I can keep an eye on it. And there was an empty property. It used to be a little boutique. And this woman had owned it. It's a very wealthy woman. She didn't care. Her father bought her all these places. She just left it empty. She didn't use it. And, so she was like, sure, I'll sell it to you. I don't care. So it was great. The property, went there with the architect, and she had to be there to open the door. And me, because I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the things here, like I'm telling you now. I'm going to be, excited. I'm going to put the little tables for the kids painted red, and sunflowers on the walls. And there's going to be red tables with counters, and I'm going to have the bakery, and it's going to smell good, and people will be out in the street, and they can smell all the good, fresh, Well, the next day I was supposed to sign a contract. An hour before I got to sign the contract, she called the lawyer to cancel. She said, I changed my mind. I want to do it. So my enthusiasm had inspired her.
Oh no.
The deal was off.
Oh.
I was devastated. I am telling you, and I'm telling everyone who's listening, this happens to, how often does this happen in life? You don't get that opportunity, that job, that promotion, the guy, the girl, whatever. You lose it, and you're just like, the carpet has been pulled out from, I had a master plan. And this was the first one, and I was, and I had an architect come. I came to, I paid them to come and do a design for me, everything. I probably cried about 24 hours. I usually say cry for 5 minutes, have some ice cream and move on. Probably it took me about 24 hours. I was just like, the wind was taken out of me. But then the next day I woke up and I went, wait a minute, this is a sign. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. Get packed, go to Hollywood for 3 years, forget about it. You've got your cookie business, let your employees keep the business going, it's wholesale, that's fine. This is not what you're supposed to do. So it was a giant sign, but initially I was like, I had this planned, God, this was my plan. And, they say man plans and God decides, and that's not how it was. And now looking back retrospectively, I'm so grateful because it was fun, and fun. It was all hard work, but it was like creative, and opening all these restaurants and, these cafes would have been so great, like Starbucks. But honestly, I'm so grateful because now that the country is saturated, I would have been drowned by all the coffee beans and all the Starbucks. I couldn't have competed. It's just too much. They would have bought me out, put 10 stores next to me. And it worked out well. It would have been successful for a couple of years, but I would have spent a fortune building these 10 places. The actors I got lined up, they were excited. I had to disappoint them. I'm sorry, but they were like, okay, I'm an actor. It doesn't matter. But for me, it was such a disappointment. But now these are lessons you learn in life as we go along. It isn't always perfect. It isn't always great. There's a lot of crap. Excuse me, guys. A lot of poop. Life is it's just one, a lot of times just one darn thing after another. But this was just a grateful negative thing that happened that turned into something. I left like a few months later. I packed up, and shortly after I left and came to Los Angeles, and the rest is history. And I came to LA, and they're like, oh, you're 40 years old. What are you doing here? You're so old. You're a big success in Hungary. Go back to Hungary. So, it's tough. I mean, it's a tough business. It's not kind. People are like, I want to be an actress. I want to do what you do. Okay, I've been studying since I was 3. Knock yourself out. Study, work, do free theater, do community theater, go to school, just do everything, work on the other side of the camera. I mean, all that stuff. But just to finish up the bakery, so I left it to my employees. And it's really hard to have a business about 8,000 miles away.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and I think it was about 8,000. Anyway, to keep that going. And, the employees said, and I said, look, you build up the business, you'll make more money. But this is still the old mentality. It's like, well, we'd rather play cards, so we'll just do the business a little bit. And the business, they kind of almost destroyed it. So I had to go back to Hungary, and I sold it. And then I leased it to a really close friend's daughter who just came out of school. She was in marketing, and she was just awesome. And I thought, she was so excited. I'm going to build up this business. And I was like, fantastic. So I let her have it. I had another person interested, but she begged me. And my girlfriend said, please give it to my daughter, please. So I did. I leased her the business. And a few months later, it turns out she tried to steal it from me. I got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning from my baker, said, you got to come back because she's about to steal you. She's telling everyone it's not your business anymore. She's moving the business somewhere else. She's changing anyway, I got in a plane. I went back to Hungary. I was on a television show in Canada called Da Vinci's Inquest in Vancouver. I had to, when that was done, I got on a plane, went to Budapest, stole my business back, if that's the right word, or recaptured it. Did major damage control, took about 3 months, fixing it up, getting it ready, and I had to sell it. And it was like my baby, because I don't have kids, but I started with a bowl in my kitchen. That's how the bakery began, with an idea. And it was heart-wrenching. But again, sometimes you have to let go of things that just aren't meant to continue. So it's a long story. I'm sorry. But that's kind of what, it's life happens. I mean, stuff happens all the time. You're like, why did this happen? Well, I guess I wasn't supposed to be there, but it was hard to let it go. But again, it has to be your baby to love it. It has to be your creation and your passion that makes it successful. If you don't put it into it, it's not going to work. And you also have to make sure people don't steal your stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, in a nutshell, that's kind of, yeah. So that's why I had to sell the bakery. I think that was your question. It was a long story.
Yeah.
You asked why did I sell it? But, and honestly, I came to Los Angeles and it wasn't like piece of cake, besides people hurting my feelings. Oh, you're so old for Hollywood. And I was like, someone needs a mom or a grandma or an aunt or a creepy teacher, something. Cleaning lady. I did a lot of Russian cleaning ladies. So I can do accents because I love accents. My parents had thick Hungarian accents. I used to make fun of them. So it was kind of a natural thing. And not that many people, when I first came to Hollywood in 98, could do it. Now everyone does accents. Like, okay, so, or they have the real deal. But, so yeah, when I came here, I did a lot of, that stuff, but it was really hard to get started. Every time when things weren't going, I'd get like a job and I met a lot of casting people and I just basically started from scratch. I coach students and I tell them, go meet casting directors, go to workshops, study with them, whatever it is to get that connection going and to learn what they like. And exactly what I teach people, that's what I was doing. Like, a professional actor is going back to acting school or kindergarten kind of thing. But it paid off because I got a little job, then I got another job. I was on, I think The Practice was a TV show years ago. I was on that. It was like my first job. Then Brother's Keeper, I was a cop in that. Then I played a Russian cleaning lady on Brother's Keeper. That was really fun. It was the same Jamie Widows who did Frasier. So it was a short-lived series, but I was on that for a while. So, it's like bit by bit, but in between, because it's freelance work. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because my husband said, how can you do freelance? You never know what's next. And I went, it's a two-edged sword. On one hand, it's so scary. Like, you never know what's coming next. And you don't know if you're going to have a paycheck. And what are you going to do? On the other hand, that's so exciting. You don't know what's coming next. It could be fantastic, so, and that's my personality. I just love that. Oh, what's coming next? I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want a fortune teller to tell me. I don't want to know that's 9-to-5 job and that's all I can do and that's all I know. And even if and I've done 9-to-5 jobs, that's, I put myself through school. I want the unknown. What can I do here? I can change this or learn this or do something different. So that's just who I am, I guess. And I need that for my personality. But there were times in Los Angeles as an actress when there was nothing. I went to an audition or I didn't have any auditions. There was nothing. So I would start looking around at locations for bakeries because that's something I know how to do. And I went, okay, you know what? That's a fallback plan. You always have to, I think you always need a fallback, something, because, you don't want to be stupid. You have to eat. And you don't want to like false dreams. People are like, well, one day when I grow up, yeah, you're 95. What are you going to do? I want to be a ballerina. You should have another plan. You write a book about wanting to be a ballerina. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to be realistic with yourself, with the world, with the industry. The industry in 23 years has changed dramatically for a multitude of reasons. So that was my fallback plan. And I would look around and I would find a spot. It's happened a couple of times. It was a bakery in Hollywood. Oh, there's one on Fairfax. I could do that. Yeah. And I would go there and they had just rented it or something. It was like, okay. Then I find another, I said, this is, I find a location. I get an acting job.
Okay.
Then I go for the next, actually that's what happened. Yeah. Then I went, okay. Then another dull period or, low period. And I would, okay, let me look around for not a restaurant. I never want to do that again. That was great, but I'd rather just eat there, drink there and have a good time and go home and forget about it. But, so I looked for another location. I found one in a mall. I went, oh, that's great. A mall, the fresh cookies, the smell, because you really need, it's traffic,
Mm-hmm.
foot traffic. And I would talk to the people and we get a deal going and then boom, I got really good. Like I was on 24 for a season and a bit. It was like, okay, thank you. I'm listening, God. I'm listening. And, this happened several times. And then fortunately, I started working full time, different things, but it was enough income I didn't need a second source of, money. So, but it's so interesting how life, you go this way and then it takes you that way. Then you go that way and then it takes you this way. And here I am. And the 3 years turned into 23 years and then some. So
was Obrecht the longest, role that you've had then?
Oh yeah. I've been on that show. It'll be 10 years. July 31st was 10 years that I was I went to the studio and I think my first episode aired August 24th. And it was just 2 episodes with Duke, Ian Buchanan, who's just a doll. Love working with him, and Tony Geary. He was Dr. von Schimmerman. I don't know if you remember, but he he was in Switzerland and he went to the psychiatric care center or something. I think that's where I had kidnapped. Robin, and I think and Anna. They came looking for her, and I had her. I was just doing what Faison wanted me to do.
I know.
I loved the guy, and I was crazy in love with him, and I did. He said, "Kidnap her," and I did. It's a job. You do what you're told. I put Scorpio in a coma for a year. He wasn't happy about that, but it's like I'm just doing what I'm told. So, but it'll be 10 years, and yes, so Liesl Obrecht is definitely the longest I've done it. It's getting close to 500 episodes.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, they should have her open up a bakery.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be great? If you cook Scott dinner and he's like, this is the best. We love that he calls you Schnitzel.
I was going to call him Schnitzel. And like the writers put in him calling me. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to call him that.
Well, I wanted to ask you that. So when Liesl just goes off in like little, when she starts speaking other languages, German. Do you get to ad-lib that, or is that in the...
No, I don't ad-lib anything. I don't. I mean, the writers are so, they write such great material for me. I really never feel the need to. And again, this is who I am. This is my training. I spent 10 years in New York, did tons of theater, 167 plays. I was adding up from the time I was in school and the time I was a kid. All of this stuff. I mean, this is a profession. Writers, just the same way I studied acting, they went to school. They could be doctors, but they studied to become writers, and they have worked hard, and then they're interning, and then they're working. I mean, this is not a slack job like, I think I'll write something. This is a serious profession, and I treat them and their work with the same respect that I expect to be treated with as well. So I've rarely looked at something on, I can't say that, or work with, there's very few times, or that's not funny. I think it's funny, and it's my job to make it funny, and hopefully it is. At the end of the day, it doesn't always come out the way I'd like it to, but sometimes it works. But it's because of their wonderful writing. And I love the way they write for me. And some people embellish a little bit, like Michael Easton will just throw in a little cute things. One time he was, we had a scene, I think I was mentioning this the other day, where I was pushed off by Brad off the ship. What's that the ship called?
The Haunted Star.
The Haunted Star, sorry, thank you. I haven't been on the Star for a while, so that's why. But anyway, so I get pushed off, and then they rescue me, and he has to give me mouth-to-mouth to resuscitate me. And he says something about, you could have bought me dinner at least first or something. That wasn't in the script, and it was hysterical. But those are just little gems occasionally. But the writing, these writers, they know the history, they have a storyline, or they know the story that's coming that we don't know, we're not privy to. So I really, and also not only that, but you're working as a team with the other actor. So if you say to the other actor, there's a line, I'm hungry, do you want to have dinner? And the other actor goes, yeah, how about this restaurant? But if I say, isn't it a beautiful, this weather sucks, they're going to go, yeah, me too, I'm hungry, let's go to the restaurant. So you're not helping them. It's really inconsiderate. It's unprofessional. And again, this is my bugaboo, because there's some people that just like to make up stuff and go off, oh, I'm funny, you're saying this, or I don't like that line, or, it's like, and it hurts. It's not just that it's really difficult to follow them, and then you have a line to say, but it no longer makes sense. So now you have to start thinking of another line. There isn't time. In my humble opinion, we are not Robin Williams, who's a genius, and he can go off script. And, I worked with him twice. He's brilliant. And he could, poor thing. He could say what he wants and do what he wants. He's a genius. We are not geniuses. We are working actors. We show up. We learn our lines. We show up. It's a factory. Most shows are 23 or 26 episodes a year. You have a couple of weeks to learn your lines. Here, you're lucky if now we have 5 days most of the time, which is great. But there was a time you had 1 day, maybe 2 days, and you've got 150 pages. I mean, this is not a joke. So you've got to get as quickly off page and make sure you're giving the correct line to your partner so they can give you the right answer back. So it's respect to your colleagues, respect to the writers, and timing. There just isn't time to be like, oh, I think I'm going to, go off into, sometimes we have a little window, but there really isn't. So I do not write. To answer your question briefly, no, I do not. I do not. I say verbatim what's written because it's so good. And also, even if I think, well, maybe not, but I don't. I really appreciate the writing I get. I think Obrecht has great writing. It's always dynamic. It's always exciting. I never know. It's like Christmas every time. Ooh, what happens today? Oh, I'm going to kidnap somebody. Oh, I'm going to try to kill somebody. Oh, I'm going to dance. I'm going to sing. Okay. So it's been a really fun role. I really have appreciated the varied colors I get to, bring to the table. So for me, and probably some actors don't get to do that. So maybe their storyline isn't as interesting. So they try to make it more fun for themselves or, so anyway, yeah, but I appreciate when the actors stick to the script because I'm studying that response also, and it helps my acting. And if they say something, my acting choices, and if they say something different, then I have to not do that choice, which I prepared to make it funny for the audience or sad for, something, and it affects your work. It's not fun this is me. That's how I like to work in my training.
I just love that answer. I don't think
Sorry, but yeah,
I've never thought about it.
And again, I'm trying to write this cookbook, and I realize how hard it is to write a cookbook. Like how hard it is to be a chef, how hard it is to have a bakery, how hard it's like the more things you experience in life. I mean, to be a parent, I don't have kids. I can't even imagine how hard that must be. That's just incredible. I mean, you are full-time, it's you don't belong to yourself anymore. So it's a huge, huge undertaking. Yeah. And off with a hat. I mean, I made that choice not to have kids, and it's, I part of me is like, oh, I wish I didn't. Another part is I wouldn't have time. Not that I don't think I'm a selfish person, but I need time to think and to do. And it's like, and I'm whimsical, and it's like, I'll feed my husband. Now I'm so excited to cook, and then I don't want to. I'm like, no, we're eating out. Or I forget. He's like, oh, could I have something to eat? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you can't do that with kids. So, who I am, I don't think you'd have to be a good, responsible, reliable parent. I don't think I'd pay the bill.
That is true. We can't forget to, although they do eventually become self-sufficient, but definitely understand, you want to be able to leave to go to Hungary for an undetermined amount of time.
Right.
So.
And my husband retired a few years ago, and so he has more time to travel. I don't work all the time on the show. The show's dark for weeks at a time. So I'm like, let's go. And we haven't since COVID. We were about to embark on a 2-month trip, and then that got the kibosh on it. But yes, if we want to, I can say, hey guys, please don't write for me at General Hospital for 2 months because we're going to go to Hungary. We're taking off, or I'm doing a film there or something, or some other shows. And I'm just recurring, so they only bring me in as they need for a little storyline or something. So it's like I am pretty flexible to do other projects, which is great. Also, do other things. I like that freedom.
We need more of you and Scott. So was that intended, or was that just an accident? Like, were you just supposed to have a one-night stand, and then it was like the response was so amazing that they decided to make you guys a couple?
You know what? I think they do that probably with everybody to see how the chemistry works with the fans and how they react. I mean, if you think back on Anna and Obrecht, in the Rage Room, we did that once trying to resolve. Well, everyone loved it. So now then they did another, then they did a second thing with the act. They're like, oh, they loved it. We got to give them more. So the same thing with, and they like our, Anna and Obrecht because they're like, staunch enemies, and they did this and this and that, and so they try to give us, they do listen to you very much. They listen to the fans, they read all this stuff, and they go, they're really hating Heinrich, the storyline with Peter. They, really loving this. Okay, they don't like that actor. Goodbye, the actor. They don't like the storyline. It's not even the actor's fault mostly. It's usually the storyline that, an actor gets killed off or something. But also it works the other way around. It's like, what? Let's try Scott with Obrecht. Let's try it out. So they did that one thing, and the fans, really responded positively. They're like, let's see where it goes. So that, there's been some progress. And it's been fun. It's like, Obrecht has a boyfriend, and it's a whole other side of Obrecht we haven't seen, which again, as an actress, it's fun because Obrecht is uptight, evil, in a box. It's just a few colors, and she sings and dances, does a little comedy, but basically she's very stiff. And she was only with herself with her son, Nathan. That's when she was really down to earth and could just be natural and real. The other times it's very stilted and stylized. But here, now she's got a boyfriend. And she gets to be this teenager that she's never been, because with César Faison, she was like, the what do you call it, the slave, if you will, or, just kind of running after whatever he'd been doing his bidding and whatever he wanted, and hoping he would like throw her a bone, oh, I love you. There was never that. So it was always this, because he was in love with Anna. So she was always second fiddle and third fiddle. And so here's somebody who brings out the teenager in her that she never got to experience. It's like, as an actress, I just chomping my teeth into that, opportunity to have that chance to like, oh, goody, that's the color we haven't explored for Obrecht. She gets to be, and that personality is kind of more like who I am anyway. So I kind of let myself come through. It's like, okay, I get to be the goofball now, So the teenager. So I really I really think that's fun. And we have some stuff coming up.
Oh, awesome.
Yay.
Cool.
Maybe. A morsel, but still.
It's something.
Yes, anything's better than nothing.
Yeah.
So how do people respond to you now that they see you as Obrecht? Have you met anyone that can't get in the mindset that you're a person separate than Obrecht? Because just meeting you on the street, thinking of you as Obrecht, I would be like, oh, I don't like her. She's not very nice.
You know what? In all the years that I've been Obrecht, I've been stopped a lot at the grocery store.
Oh, okay.
I usually like this. What you see, this, right now we're talking about. I usually have my hair in a ponytail. I'm come from the gym or schlepping. I'm sampling food. Usually my mouth is full of food and trying something, and then people go, "Oh, I love you!" And it's what's interesting. A few people call me Dr. Evil.
Oh.
And back when I really was, now I'm like more mom to Britta, and I have a boyfriend. So it's a little different. She's softened, but back then when I was doing hardcore, like kidnapping and stabbing people and all that stuff, people really like the dark. I was, because honestly, as an actress and growing up, I thought the Waltons.
Yes.
You ever watch the Walton? John Boy and the mom. I always wanted to be Mrs. Walton, because I thought, she's just this kind, warm. I loved her. And I went, I want to be that person that people go, she's warm and kind. And so that's kind of the role I've been aspiring to get in my career and to kind of grow into that. And Obrecht is like the polar arms, the Krampus, all that stuff. And I was really I was like, oh man, I'm going to get hated. But it's like, you know what? They hate you. That means you're doing your job well. But people love the evilness of Obrecht. And I'm just like, wow, people are dark, but we all are. And then people would say, well, how could you be so evil on the show? And I'm going, okay, don't tell me you haven't killed a spider or a fly, right? You see a spider, you're like, or a fly. You just want to worst, get the swatter out and kill that. So I think we all have, and of course, survival, you don't want that around your house. But I'm just saying that's kind of instinctual. We all have that, unfortunately, that dark side. And people just love these Walking Dead and horror movies and the end of the world movies. It's like, that's just part of our human nature, I think, to look at that, look at the dark. I'm just saying, as far as entertainment, it's like, that's kind of people. I'm shocked. That's been like the hardest part, or one of the hardest part of this job, is to accept that people love the darkness. It's like, wow, okay, let's give them more, I
think that we could mostly always see that, she was just going after Cesar's approval, or, whenever you had Peter tied to the bed, it was because you were trying to protect the people you love.
Absolutely.
So the character was never malicious just for the sake of being malicious.
Right. Gratuitous maliciousness. Yeah. That's right. I like that.
It was all done in love.
Yeah. Yes. Well, her very strange sense of love. That's right. Yeah, that's true. But, but it's fun though, because again, now that I've accepted that I won't be Mrs. Walton, at least not on this show, but, that people have that and they like that. They vicariously live through that darkness and go, yeah, that person hurt me. And we all have that in life. People that hurt us, people that took this or took that, or, something didn't happen. And so I think it helps the audience vicariously to go, yeah, starve him with a sandwich. Don't give it to him. Hit him over the head with the vase, whatever it was. So,
because we also saw you. So we both love Desperate Housewives.
Oh yeah.
And you were on that, but you were a Sunday school teacher.
Yes, I was Mrs. Walton with a gun in her hand.
See, you got the nice crossover of both. It was, you're the Sunday school teacher, but at the same time,
Again, it's like, a Sunday school teacher with a good heart. That was a fun role working with those people. It was really great.
Oh, how did you perfect your different accents? I know you said that you got some of it from your parents, but how about everything else?
My parents spoke with very thick Hungarian accent, and they speak like this. And I always made fun of my parents. My mother, especially, poor thing. We'd be helping her in the kitchen, and she'd be showing me how to cook something, and we'd be talking. And then, Kati, why you do this thing? I said, Mommy, why you do this thing? And she said, I don't talk like that. Yes, Mommy, you talk like that. No, Kati, I don't. Why you make fun of me? Anyway, it was so much fun. But I always made fun of their accents, and I grew up listening to them. And I just love, and I studied different languages, so I enjoy speaking the languages, and then also the accents of people. I think it's just, it's something that you pick up in life. Just things that, strike you, like music or listening to people talk. I just was fascinated where people are from, because my parents are immigrants, and their story was very important to me, and how they came to Canada from Hungary during the revolution, which is what's going on, unfortunately, in the Ukraine right now. So these people have to escape, and my parents had to escape the same way. Sister was a baby. Turns out my mother didn't know, but she was pregnant with me. So it was just this whole story that's very close to me with what's going on. And, but again, I'm digressing, but so I'm always fascinated where people come from, and why did they leave their country? Do they have to? Do they want to? And you'll hear their accents, and, I'm from Serbia, I'm from Russia, I'm from France. And I've always been fascinated, and I think because of the music, growing up with all the classical music in our home, my ear is fine-tuned to that and to accents, and I started doing them professionally. And they would say, well, we need someone to do Russian. So I would go to the audition. Like I said, when I first came to Hollywood 24 years ago now, it was, you would go to an audition, there would be maybe 20 people. If you go to an audition where just an American accent, there'd be 200 people, 2,000 people. It was just ridiculous, the quantity. But for specific accents, it would be like 20. So I wouldn't be competing as many people. And then I was on a show. I played an Austrian woman with German accent on, Austrian German on, what was that called? With Piper Perabo. Covert. I think it was Covert Affairs.
I was going to say, I can see the picture in my head of what the
Covert Affairs. There was two shows. I keep mixing them up. Anyway, and I played in that. Then another one, I was a Croatian woman on the other another show. Then I've done a lot. In 24, I was the first lady of Russia with a Russian accent. So I've done a lot of German in a film with what's that name? With I'm sorry, my brain is just. Right. All these, there's so many names floating around inside. Miranda Hill, I think her name was Miranda Hill. She directed this feature film. That's not her last name. That's another director I work with. Anyway, and I played a German vet. You take the cat, and then you put the cat here, and you give twice a day, you'll give it. So it was really cool. And then Obrecht, they needed a Swiss German, which isn't quite German. In Switzerland, they speak 5 or 6 languages or more. German, so German, French, Italian, all these different things. But Obrecht comes from Switzerland, the German part. So it's kind of a Swiss, German, British, because she spent so many years in England with different degrees from this university in Oxford and all over. I remember when they gave me, I became the chief of staff, and they gave me an office, and it was perfection. Everything was white, pristine. I like red, and I'm a pig. I'm a mess. Papers everywhere. My husband's going, put your papers away. I'm like, I just put it in my office. It's okay. So, it's like, I'm not a mess, but I have a lot of stuff, and there's papers and things. And Obrecht is the polar opposite of me. She's neat. Everything's perfect. And she had white stapler. Mine's red, and it's on the floor. Then she had white pens in a box. Everything was just perfect. And I went, oh, this is nice. But on the wall, there were 10 different degrees. I don't know if anyone in the audience ever noticed that, but doctorate in, from, I don't know, somewhere in England, then, from this university, and then Switzerland. She had like 10 different medical degrees and this doctorate, that thing. I was so impressed with Obrecht's, who she was. I'm like, look at this, look at me. I've got all these, degrees. So she had spent time in England so this accent that I tried to come up with, it's not like, if you speak the thick German accent, sometimes it's very difficult to understand, so it's kind of more open, a little bit British. So Obrecht speaks a little more open so people can understand. Because sometimes you hear people talking and like, I don't know what they're saying because the accents are so thick. So I kind of came up with something that's a little more open, easier to understand, a little British, a little German, softened somewhere in there. Sometimes it works. So my husband's like, because he helps me the night before I work. He always runs the lines with me and goes, that sounded American. That was too German. That was too British. It's like, okay. So there's a lot of work that goes into it to make it sound right. So
how do you not naturally have the Hungarian accent then if you grew up with your parents having such a thick accent?
That's interesting. But I grew up in Canada and I was born there. Again, I always say I was made in Hungary and popped out in Canada. I was born in Canada. But my mother, because she was an opera singer back in Hungary and my father wasn't, but they were immigrants. So she started a daycare and we were surrounded by little kids. So we grew up, and then went to school. So it was just natural. Everyone spoke. Only my parents didn't. But we spoke Hungarian at home. That was the first language. But definitely, growing up around everybody except my parents. So my sister and I, we did not grow up with an accent. Although the Canadian, my husband said the other day, you said out and about. I was like, I didn't say out and about. I said out and about. He goes, no, you didn't. So sometimes the Canadian still comes in, but otherwise, no, that's true. But some people, if I had grown up in Hungary and come here, I definitely would have an accent. But having been born in North America, so no accent.
That's interesting because my dad's from Pittsburgh and my mom's from Boston. But I didn't do daycare. So I was only with my mom until I went to school. And
so you have a slight Bostonian accent.
And when I go visit my family, when I come home, my husband's like, I can't understand you for a few days. And I don't notice it.
Sure.
But he can always tell when I've been talking on the phone with one of my aunts because he's like, you were talking to Erica today, huh? I'm like,
because it's easy to go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. So you're Shannon?
I'm Shannon. Yep.
You're Shannon. You're Amanda. Okay.
Yep. We didn't introduce ourselves.
Sorry. Sorry.
No.
I feel like we're old friends after last week.
So you do a lot of different things. You've done TV, film, audiobooks, video games, all of that. Do you have a favorite or do you just like the creativity behind each project?
That's a really good question. Yes and no. It changes over the years, but honestly, I did so much theater and I love that connection with the audience. It's like talking to you guys. We're communicating back and forth. And when you're on stage, there is definitely a communication with the audience. My father taught me that as a conductor. He said, you make the audience breathe with you through the music. And, he'd be like conducting and his back would be to the audience, but he would make everyone breathe together. It was kind of you didn't notice it, but through the music. And so that's something that I learned. But also when you are on stage with the audience, they're laughing. They're not laughing. They're restless. Why are they restless? You're going too slow or you're not entertaining them or you're boring them. Well, I better pick up the pace or I better talk louder or better make it funnier. So it's a very live medium where you interact with the audience. And I love that. You get feedback. That's why I love my Zoom events because there's feedback. I talk to people like you and I, we're communicating now. And I really love that. But, when I came to, I stopped doing theater years ago because it was just like, it consumes your evenings and weekends. I was single for a long time. I really wanted a relationship. I wanted to work in the daytime as doing my acting, and the evenings and weekends, I wanted to be with my husband. That was it. So I kind of stopped doing theater. I have been asked a few times here and there where I'm like, no, don't tempt me. So honestly, I would say that's my favorite. That has been my favorite. When you do, you're in a vacuum. Like when we do the soap opera, I started saying like when you do prime time, it's 25, 23, 26 episodes a year and you have like weeks to get ready and all this stuff. But when you're doing a soap, it's 10 times that much. It's 250 episodes a year. So it's again, it's like a factory. It's moving. It's a machine. It's like get in, say your lines and go home. So you're in there. There's very little connection with anyone. You go in, you see your scene partner, say your lines, you do your thing. Hi guys, everyone, thank you. Moving on. That's the word, moving on. And when you hear that, you're done. And they're like, sometimes the director sits in another room watching all the, cameras, and the producers are in there and the editors, and you'll hear, thank you guys, nice job. Sometimes, but 99% of the time, moving on. Boom. So there's no connection. You don't know, did you do a good job? Did you suck? Did it feel good? There's no time to digest, to talk with the other actors. How did I think that was pretty, occasionally that works, but very rarely. Most of the time, it's just like, so there's no relationship. So it's kind of, I want to say, in a vacuum. You just do it and you go home. There's no feedback. It's very dry, so there's not that, the audience, they clap and they love you and, they love it was great. Or they're like, yeah, that was great. And they walk out, and then, you sucked and you got to do better the next time. So it's really hard. And the same thing for film. One thing that I do like about film that I prefer is the tempo. It's much slower, and a lot of people on soaps are like, no, I want to knock out 10 episodes today. I don't want to spend doing one movie in 6 months. But I like that because I like you have time to really work one scene. And we were laughing about that I think it was with Maura. Who did I work with? Somewhere we were just talking about that, maybe on the trip. Anyway, but we were saying how when you're doing, with the soap work, it's really quick, and you've just done 3 episodes when you would do like maybe one scene on a movie. In 6 hours you've done on a movie, you're like, well, let's try this 20 more times. Oh, I know. I had a scene I was with Nina and Britta in Curtis's club. And we're sitting there and, we did it like once. Okay, take one, move it on. Let's do the next take. Done. Okay. And we were saying we could try this scene 20 more times. If this were feature film or prime time, we would have one camera. They would film you, then they would film the other actor, then they would turn the camera around, then they would film the other actor at the other angle, then they would pull the camera back. So you would spend the whole day doing this one scene. And by the afternoon or the evening, after like 18 hours, you're going, I think I'm starting to understand the material. I think I can make this work for the audience. They're going to like this, or this feels good now, or organic. You don't have that kind of time on a soap. You're like, okay, you do it once, you hope you hit the mark and you keep going. So I really like that because we were saying, and by the 20th take, you're going, I think this is good. Whereas in a soap, you're lucky if you get it done the first take. You don't have to do it one more time. They're like, okay, we have to fix that or pick it up if there's a mistake or technical. But otherwise, it's one take. You say it that way and you hope to God that you've done it right and that you get the message across.
I think that's amazing because, soap actors don't get the credit that they should for
they don't.
How hard you work. But the emotions that you guys invoke in us, we laugh, we cry, we scream at you. We, we do all of it. A lot of screaming. Yeah. And it's all on one take.
Yes. It's true. And when I first started acting, there was a whole stigma. You don't do commercials, you don't do soaps, and 40 years ago, it's like, oh, you don't do that stuff. That's beneath, if you want to be an artiste, you want to do theater, you want to do feature film. It's like, in today's world, first of all, you're lucky you can get any job because it's a saturated market. Everyone and their mother wants to be an actor. So everyone's, that's what they want to do. And it's harder and harder to get work. Even though there's tons of material they're filming, but again, there's just so much. It's just an influx of everyone. And also they're not casting out of Los Angeles. They're casting, if they're shooting a film, they're taking 2 stars to New Mexico or to Georgia, because Atlanta, tons of stuff goes there, and then everything else is local hire. So if you don't live in Atlanta, you don't live in Albuquerque, you don't live in wherever, they're shooting, you're not going to work. They'll say, well, if you come be a local hire, which means you pay the airfare, the hotel, per diem, you pretend to live there, and then you can, you get a part for 2 days, and you spent $10,000, and and you're earning nothing. So it's really not. It's a changing industry. And I understand the producers. I've done some producing at a production company. It's the money. At the end of the day, it's the dollar is your bottom line. So it's got to make sense financially. So you're like, why should I fly an actor from Hollywood to New Mexico or to Atlanta when I've got 100 of them that could do the same thing?
Yeah.
Unless there's the stars and then you have your big stars. But a soap actor, you're right. It's definitely my appreciation for what we do and this profession and being an actor, It's changed. It's like, this is the hardest job as an actor you will ever have, because the quantity of work, the minimum time of preparation you have, and you have to keep churning it out, and you have to be your best every single time. And it's different on, on other venues. You can take your time. In theater, you have 4 to 6 weeks to learn your material. Oh, I think I'm going to pick up this cup of coffee and take it over there. And I say, would you like some coffee? It's a whole different animal. This is like boom, bing, boom. I've come home sometime in the past 10 years. I told my husband, can you imagine? In 5 minutes, they told me, because right before in the morning, they give you blocking. Okay, so, you study your lines at home. You got, whatever, 15 pages for one episode. So you got, or 20 or 30, and you're doing 2 episodes that day or 5 episodes that day. I think one day was 7 episodes. I mean, you've got 150 pages of material. You've had a few days to learn. It's like, you don't think you can do it, but somehow you do. A friend of mine said to me once, you can eat an elephant one bite at a time, but you got to eat fast when you just have a few days. So, you do all this stuff and you learn it and you show up. And it has to be, it has to be done right. So there's just no time for that. So I'm not sure where I was going with this last thought. But anyway, it's my appreciation is definitely different. I really respect this profession and these actors. Again, the quantity of work that we have to churn out to a certain level of quality. It isn't always the quality you want, and you're hoping that you get to that place. Oh, I know. Yes, I was saying that. And so I told my husband, so in the morning you come in, you've done your stuff, and you do blocking. And the director says, okay, Kathleen, I want you to, pick up the bottle of wine, open it up, pour a glass, take it to him, take your coat off, put it down there, pick up the gun, bring it back, sit down. And, and you have this like talking, and you're like, okay. And then you have to write down. So I pick up the coat. No, pick up the wine, open the wine. Take the glass, and these are things, that we do every day naturally, but now you have to recreate real life in a very short period of time. And sometimes you're the first up in the morning. So you've had 5 minutes, and in about, half an hour, you're going to go up there, and or they should do it right away. Okay, I want you to do this and this and this, because we don't have time to block. So we're going to block. It's called block, tape, shoot. I forget it. It's beat. Anyway, but they're blocking, and then you film right away. And you better remember what order you have to do what. It's like, And so I said to my husband, I came home one day, I had to take a bottle of wine, I had to pour it, I had to put it in a glass. He goes, oh, you poor thing. But it was funny. And he makes fun of me now. This is like the very beginning, but he makes fun of me because I spent years theater. That's normal. But you have weeks. I'm going to pick up this. I'm going to pick up a phone, and I'm going to take it over there, and I'm going to take my coat. It's all natural, becomes part of the material. There is no time for that here. So there's so many elements as a soap actor that serious respect for everyone who's in this profession. And also the writers, Frank Valentini, the executive producer, he's got to keep an eye on everything, the production, the sets, the actors, who's available, who isn't, coordinating all the producers on the show, scheduling, the casting. It's a huge factory. As they say, it takes a village, and it does.
Are you even able to kind of keep track of your own storyline, really
Absolutely.
feel through it? Okay. But
Absolutely.
Do you guys pay attention to each other's storylines? Because that was the thing that when we were talking to everyone last week, oh, wait, you did, oh, that person's related to so-and-so, or that could happen. How much?
Well, there is some of that. Like, I just did a thing where I'm supposed to be angry, and I'm just a little, I don't know, this is a spoiler, but I'm supposed to be angry at Sonny. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I'm just all of a sudden I'm angry at him. So I have to like fish around, and if they have time, they tell you. And if the show, everything's moving so fast, I still don't know, because we were filming and going, and I asked a few people, and they were like, just a second, and they didn't have time to tell me, because that helps me. It's like, well, I'm angry because of this, but I didn't know. So I still don't know. Maybe one day I'll watch on TV and I'll go, oh, that's why. He did something to Scotty. What did he do to Scott? Well, I'll kill him. I have to be angry. So sometimes that happens, but basically I know exactly my character, who I've been with, what I've done. But there are things like Wes and I, when we did the show in Pittsburgh, we were asked some questions, and in Detroit, certain things. And I was like, I don't remember, to you. They were like, yeah, I think so. I don't know. So it's funny because I worked with Maurice Bernard on All My Children for a couple of months back in 1989-90. And then I met him 30 years later. Now we're working on another show, and I was so happy to see him again because we had a great time working then. And he didn't remember me. He was like, oh yeah, we worked together. That's nice. Really? Who are you? And the same thing happened with Rick Springfield. I did a film called Change of Heart, or Changing. again, these names are just so many things in my head. I think it was called Change of Heart. It was one of these Harlequin romance movies we filmed in Hungary back in '94. It was great to work with him. I played a pregnant mother or a pregnant woman who's a sister. And here we are, flash forward 30 years later, and now we are going to be the grandparents when Britta was going to have a baby that we stole the embryo, just a little detail. And, we took that and anyway, and then here he is now. He's my brother-in-law. I guess we're going to be the co-grandparents. And I was so happy. I'm like, I worked with him like for 3-4 weeks filming this in Hungary. And I was like, Rick, it's so great to see you again. And he was like, who are you? I was like, oh, never mind. I mean, the business there's just so much information and people and things like that. So anyway, I've been blabbering away. I'm sorry. I get on a roll. You ask such great questions and I just can't stop with the answers.
No, it's okay. We appreciate it.
Exactly. We love it. That's what this is all about, is hearing all the things that we don't know from the soaps.
I'm happy to talk to you guys another time. I do have another obligation I have to go to.
Okay.
I
She has
hope
to go to Girl Scouts.
Well, you better get those little delicious cookies. If you guys come into my cooking show, it's going to be, my next cooking show is June 2nd. It's on a Thursday evening, I think East Coast, 7 o'clock, 4 o'clock West Coast. Mountain time. I don't know if there's mountain time here 5, maybe it's about 4 and 7. But anyway, the East Coast, I think it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to do some Hungarian food, desserts this time, Hungarian desserts and some cocktails. And it's a fun venue. It's on fantasyeventsinc.com or Coastal Entertainment. You can see it also on Eventbrite. You can get tickets there. I'll be selling aprons, be doing the show, give prizes out. People win autographed pictures and things from my kitchen, things like that. So we have fun, bring questions. It'll be a good time. So I will see you guys on June 2nd, and hopefully your listeners, if anybody's interested, they can come to the show also.
Yep. And we'll put the link in our show notes and everything too for everyone. So
fantastic. That's awesome.
Thank you guys so much for your time. This was wonderful.
No, thank you. I'm sorry I blabbered away, but such good questions.
We'll talk again another time. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
right. Thank you so much. You take care.
Thank you. Bye.
She has so much good life experience.
I know. And she's such a good grown up about it, because I would be a little angry. But not like forever angry. But at that moment, she was like, I woke up the next day and was like, this is God's plan. And I was like, yes, I know that in the long run, but it takes me a lot longer than 24 hours to get there.
She just knew that she had to move on, because she was going to do that. And then she was going to go to LA. And then she was like, well, now I don't have that. So now I'm just going to go to LA.
Yes.
So, and I love the fact that she was 40 when she went, because I will be 40 this year.
Let's move to LA.
Sometimes, it's like things that happen in the world. Sometimes you feel like if you haven't hit certain benchmarks by a certain age, that
yes,
you're irrelevant or less than or whatever. And it's like, and you could have done amazing things your entire life, but because other people, I've had goals, and there's one that I have just had to keep pushing back. And the fact that if I have to push it back past 40, which I'm probably going to, I don't want to keep pushing it back.
I understand, but
it'll get there eventually.
Exactly. You get there when you get there. All her talk about how hard it is to work on the soap, though, made me pat myself on the back, because I was a pretty smart kid. I wanted to be an actress, but I only wanted to be a soap actress. And that was why. Was they do all this amazing work and they're on the air constantly, as opposed to just a snippet of a movie. Like, a movie is only famous for, unless it's a major movie, most movies are only famous for 6 months or whatever, and then they go away.
Though, remember back in the day when we would love movies for years?
But they were really good movies. And those are the movies that you're still talking about now. But there was a lot of movies
but
that
what
you
movies
didn't.
Are our kids going to? Do you remember when Disney didn't release a movie every year? And it was every 7 years?
Yes. And those are the ones that you still care about.
Yeah.
So,
not that I don't care about the ones now, but I mean, they're coming out with them so quick. You don't get to love them before they get replaced.
Right. They're just not the same. I'm sorry. They're not as good as they were back then. But that's how I feel about soaps, is people continue to love you. I mean, you see all the YouTube dedication to it. The fact that we can find stuff from the 80s because people loved it that much.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone, not to kill all the other medias, but everyone should just want to be soap actors, because they are working constantly and so hard.
And she's so good. And I love that. I mean, she'll be on for 10 years.
That's so crazy.
You know, I wish that she seems to be perfectly happy with being recurring.
Yes.
And with how
But
things
maybe
are going.
she could recur a little more.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she brings
so much.
I remember when she first came on and I was like, what the heck is happening right now? But, you know, we didn't know all the stuff with Phazon and this and that. And then we learned all of it and we're like, oh.
They've given her a really good backstory that she can keep pulling from, that there's no reason that we shouldn't have her
and she can do
more often.
Anything.
Mm-hmm.
She can be funny. She can be sexy now. She can be crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she probably has the most free range of any character because you have no expectations when it comes to Oprah.
She said even herself, you open it and you're like, what am I getting today?
Oh, I'm going to shoot someone. All right. You know.
So I just love it.
Yeah. But so she was absolutely wonderful. We are really looking forward to the cooking event on June 2nd. As we mentioned, we will have the link in our show notes.
Yes, come join us. Oh my God, that would be the best conversation ever.
And the website is GH Fantasy, or is it just Fantasy Events Inc.?
I think it's Fantasy Events Inc. because they do other soaps too, not just GH.
Why?
There are some people that like other soaps.
I don't
the
understand
way we
that.
like GH.
So if you go to fantasyeventsinc.com, you can sign up for the event and also all those other fantasy events that we've mentioned. Like there's a whole bunch coming up over the next couple months. But this one is June 2nd that we are going to be part of. So
that was just so much fun.
I know. All right. Well, hope that you enjoyed this chat and tune in on Monday when we talk about this week's shows.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.
Juvederm Day is coming soon. One day only. Get double the gift cards on August 16th. Then earn up to triple Alley points August 16th through August 31st. Don't miss out on your biggest chance to save. Join Alley now while supplies last. Terms and conditions apply.